Hey y'all, today we're talking Berryessa, April 20th and 21st. There was tons of fish catches. Was it good?
It was good.
It was a great weekend. The weather was beautiful, almost on the hot side. In that 80-degree weather, mornings were like low 50s, somewhere around there. Enough that you needed a jacket on, but you did not, you didn't need to layer up or anything like that. And once it got warm, it was real nice. As far as the rest of it, let's get into how we caught them and what we were thinking. Saturday, I started out behind the big island because I saw some fish that were inside there that were all in that like 3 to 5 pound class. There was a bunch of them back up in there on Friday when I was pre-fishing. Went in on there on Saturday. My partner Eric picked up a drop shot fish, but it just wasn't there. On Friday, there was an area that I went into and there was like a couple of beds. On Saturday when I went in there, there was more beds, but no fish. So it was kind of interesting that you could see more beds popped up within 24 hours, but the fish weren't there. So that was kind of interesting. That didn't really work out for me, that behind the big island area. Knew that I was basically behind it. The beds weren't going. The sun wasn't right. There was a little bit of cloud layer, like a marine layer. So I decided to pick up and run to the Narrows. And what I was doing on the Narrows was I was actually throwing watermelon candy, jackall, the old Sorry Steve. And what I was doing, or what me and my partner were doing, is we would cast out to the shallows, let it fall to the bottom, BS and talk for a little while, and then you'd pick up and it'd be swimming off. And that's, I think what it was, is as this thing was falling nice and slow, using a lighter weight, once it got to the bottom, the fish were following over to it, picking it up, and then swimming off. And that was just on the outside points with the rock points and stuff like that inside the Narrows. Picked up a decent limit there, nothing amazing, had like 13 pounds. Leaving there, ran back to Main Lake and started shopping bank for bed fishing, and ended up picking up a 5.5 off a bed and some other like high 3s, low 4s, somewhere probably high 3s area, somewhere around there. Overall total weight for Saturday for me was 1768 with a 560 big fish. Saturday was really good for you also. How'd your Saturday go?
So I drew the lowest card, so I had to blast everybody off. So I was the last boat out, and decided I was either going to go to the Narrows or go to the north end, and I decided to go north. I looked at the wind, and I knew that the wind was going to come out of the north, so I figured that at least there'll be some calm water if I did need to bed fish at all. So that's kind of one of the reasons I went up that way. I got up there. I was same thing as James, throwing the Sorry Steve, watermelon candy flick shake, and just blind casting. And I picked up a couple small fish, kind of waiting for that sun to come up to really see. I tried throwing some top water. Nothing really was happening then. Water temp, I found a lot of 60+ degree water up there, and a ton of bait. There is a ton of bait up there, but started working around, started finding some fish, and then I did a little trio or a concoction to try to get
A bed fishing concoction?
Yeah. So I'd throw the Sorry Steve in there. If that wouldn't work, I'd go to the next one, which this is a flick shake jackall, but this is called bluegill color. I'd throw that one in there. I don't have very many left. I'd throw that one in there because, you know, bedfish don't like bluegill, right? And if that wasn't the ticket, if they wouldn't pick that up, I'd go to the lizard. This is Zoom lizard. It's a watermelon red, 5-inch. And I'd just throw it on the drop shot, nose hook it, and I'd throw it in there. And I'd have to basically get it out of its throat every time. It was working. But we picked up some fish there. Started down just cruising bank on the north end, and in that area there is a ton of smallies and spots along that whole north end that you could catch just blind casting points. Great time. We were having a great time doing that.
You can do that same what I was talking about on the points and the narrows.
Yeah.
You could do the same thing with that. Sorry, Steve. Just covering bank, going down there, casting that like 4 foot to 10 foot area. Just go down the bank and you could catch, I don't even know how many fish.
Yeah, I went into a couple spots. I went into Pewter Creek and I caught a bunch of fish up there, which called up some of my limit. I ended up picking up a 440. That was my biggest fish for the week, for Saturday. And I ended up with 1729, which gave me 3rd place for the day. But that was pretty much it. I stayed north. When I did come south, once I got around the Big Island, there was the wind. It was a different lake, right? Like the wind was bad, and everywhere I thought to go to hide from the wind was people.
Yeah, there's either people where there wasn't wind, or it was just wind. Like if you were specifically trying to bedfish, it was really hard to get on it. There was 3 different club tournaments going on Saturday. I don't know, probably 40 boats total, not a ton of boats. And then you have all the fun fishing people on top of that weren't even part of that tournament. So there was a lot going on Saturday. That's pretty much your Saturday, how it ran down.
Saturday.
The coldest water I found was 63, even in the mornings. I don't think I saw anything under 63, even on main lake area stuff. Sunday, for me, was a little more exciting, a hair less weight, but a lot more exciting. I started out the day going to the east side, throwing an A-rig. There was a little bit more wind on Sunday. There was a warmer night, Saturday night to Sunday. There was a little bit warmer night. On Saturday, I did throw topwater. I forgot to mention that. They short struck it. Nothing would eat it. It just wouldn't. And then what I was throwing was a popper. I threw a spook. I threw a plopper. They wouldn't go. Saturday afternoon, I had a topwater where fish were coming up on the topwater, but they still wouldn't eat it in the afternoon. Sunday, however, inside the narrows, I picked up this popper, throwing in the back of coves, and there was a wolf pack of like 2 to 2.5s that came up. One sharked it. I wish I had it on video. It completely came out of the water, sharked it. When he came out of it, smoking it, had a T-bone in its mouth, like just corner to corner with the hooks in it. There was plenty more in there, and they were way more active. I could see on forward scan, the one time I actually had it on this weekend, that they were all about that size. So I didn't need those at that point, moved on. But there's definitely a topwater bite going on at the time. Then most of my damage on Sunday was, again, sorry Steve, same thing as what I'm saying, just cast it out, dead stick it. Did that along main lake points inside the narrows, just hopping rock points to rock points. Skipped all the coves. There was some on secondary points, but for the most part skipped that. And then ran back out to main lake, called up some more fish off of beds. Did not stumble on a 5-pounder that I could get to eat. With that said, I can't imagine, I can't even count how many 5+s
big fish that were out there
that we saw cruising, or that I saw He saw everybody in the club reported the same thing. My total
lake's
weight,
healthy.
Yeah, the lake's doing really, really healthy. The fish are really, really healthy right now. And it's definitely all of the lake. There's really kind of no bad areas that I know of.
Yeah.
My total weight on Sunday was like 15 and a half or something like that. Nothing, less weight, still good. I mean, that's a 3-pound average. So, and I didn't have any kickers that day. So I think my heaviest fish was only like 3.5, something like that. And still had a 3-pound average. So how'd your Sunday go?
I pulled the low number again. I had to blast everybody off, so I was last again. Oh well.
Yeah.
I beat a couple people out.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I ran all the way back to the north end and just doing the same thing. I figured the fish were bigger up there. I was with the other guys. I was third place, but first place was 1773.
Yeah, first through third on Saturday was within a half a pound of each other.
So I figured I have the right fish because I only had both first and second place had a 5-pound plus fish, and I only had a 440. So I had the right fish for the tournament. So I just went back up there, started fishing, and I ran into a bunch of bait. And then all of a sudden I could see the bait starting to move and blow up. So I picked up the A-rig. I changed some baits out because the baits were about 3 inches long. And I put bluegill on, bluegill flash, and I started chucking that around through the bait. And I picked up a couple fish right away. And then I got slammed on one, and it doubled the rod over, and I was super happy. I was thinking, man, just get it in the net. And we got it in the net, and it was a pike minnow.
Yeah, wrong species, or Sacramento squawfish.
Squawfish, however you want it. It was about 5 pounds.
Yeah.
It was a big one. And so, kind of laughed about it, threw it back in the water, right? Unhooked it, threw it back in the water, kept going. We picked up some more fish, doing the same thing that I was talking about. I was also throwing a Yamamoto Cinco in the 4-inch in the bluegill color. I was doing that with like a Nico rig, right? Put a little weight in it and throw it in there. Again, bait, bluegill, they hate it. But we started working around. We had a limit pretty quick. I did basically the same type of stuff. Though I found another spot where they were pushing the bait hard up against the bank, like bait was flopping up on the bank. So I picked up the A-rig again, threw it in there, hooked another really good fish. This time it was a little better of a squawfish, pike minnow, whatever you want to say. It was about an 8-pound squawfish.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good fight, right? As soon as it hooked, it started running. You could hear it. It's like a striper, right? Where you could hear the line running through the water. But me and my partner, we just kept trucking away, just doing what we were doing. And we ended up with 16-14. I had a 449 was the big fish of the day on Sunday. And 16-14, it gave us 4th place for the day. Not bad day, pretty consistent. It was a great time. Get up there. The weather was great. Definitely had to put some sunscreen on. It was good times.
Yeah, in the club, the average bag was like 14-ish,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. 14 to 15 was the average bag for both days. That's 3-pound average. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and pretty much everybody limited. So it's good times right now. Definitely is a good time to go run up there. And I mean, all the other places are popping off too, but Berryessa is definitely doing healthy.
Yeah.
So,
and we had good turnout. We had 17 boats on Saturday and 13 boats on Sunday.
yeah.
So it was a pretty good turnout, and everybody had a good time. Everybody caught limits, especially on Sunday. Everybody had limits. It was a good time.
Yeah, definitely a good time. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions, you can comment down below, or you can hit me up on Instagram. Questions, comments, share your experiences, maybe your PB squawfish.
Yeah.
Since there is a ton of big ones up there right now.
Big squawfish.
Other than that, until next time, I hope you get them.